Hi, my name is Tom Young, and I wanted to welcome all the new subscribers to my channel. And if you've seen my channel before, welcome back. I just wanted to let people know, the new guys, what this channel is all about. I run a small Ferrari restoration and repair shop in upstate New York, which focuses on vintage Ferrari, basically pre-72 or thereabouts. I try to work on carbureted cars, and it started when I bought a 330 America about 25 years ago, and it was in boxes and pieces, and I turned to a vintage Ferrari guru that took me under his wing and showed me how to put it all back together. Francois Sicard worked for Canadian Motors and shared his knowledge of working on these cars with me. And in that process of putting my car together, I decided that that's what I wanted to do for a living. So here I am in my own shop, working on vintage Ferraris for a living. So follow along and see what I get into. Also, stick around till the end because I'm starting a new series called Ferrari Mechanic Struggle of the Week. It basically just follows every week. I've got something that goes wrong with a vintage Ferrari that needs to be repaired, needs to be fixed, or needs to be solved. And I want to share some of those struggles with you and see how we fix it. I think you just got to follow the fuel trail. Smelled something, and it's dripping a little bit. And it's a 330 GTC. Just arrived yesterday. I'm going to start tearing into it. Obviously, first thing I'm going to look at is this fuel leak. Can't have that in the shop. It's just a nice old GTC, so we're going to start looking into it and see what it needs. I've got a list from the owner that says, you know, he's got his hit list of to-dos, and we're going to start knocking it out. And then we're also going to get it to run a little bit better. I don't think it's running really well, but I think carburetors need to be looked at. Obviously, fuel system. I suspect there's some, you know, I'm going to check the fuel filters. He hasn't checked those in a while. Could be some trash getting in the fuel, so we should probably address the fuel filters and all that other stuff before we tear the carburetors apart. I mean, we're going to have to take the carburetors apart and clean them, but, you know, need to make sure that when the carburetors go back on, the fuel system is nice and clean. So that's on the list. So here we go. All right, first thing I found out is the parking brake doesn't work. So let me shut it off, put it in gear, and then go close the door, and then we can start. So every time we get these new cars, just kind of, it's like introducing yourself to a new friend, because you got to see all the little things that you know, that work and don't work on this car. So get this thing on here, and let's take this car out for a little bit of a drive. Ice cold. So I'm going to expect the carburetors to be a little poppy and snappy and stuff, but we'll take it out and warm it up a little bit. See what she feels like. Carburetors probably need a little bit of a tune because you can, you know, with the amount of trash I saw on the bottom of the bowl, I think it probably needs a good cleaning. I had to remember for a second that I was in a dog leg first, because I've been driving these C4s in 400, which is a regular H pattern. So every time I get one of these cars, I have to remember, oh yeah, I'm in a GTC, so it's down to the left is first gear. I like the color combination on this car. You know, it's gray, so it's not really flashy. And so I think that definitely kind of keeps you under the radar. Raise the window a little bit. Hopefully that'll cut down on some of the wind noise. Not sure how much fuel is in this car. He said the fuel gauge also needs to be looked at. He says it's intermittent. Hopefully there's enough fuel for us to do this little test drive. but we'll soon find out. Feels pretty good so far, really solid. I mean, does no vibration. I can take my hands off the wheel, track straight. Feels pretty good. Just a nice, honest car. These GTCs are just really wonderful cars. They have the same engine as in my 330 America, same performance, but what a difference when you put it in a light two-seater car. It also has a transaxle, so the balance of it is really nice. I mean, with all the weight moved from the front transmission to the back of the car, it gives this real nice neutral steering to it. So the list on this car that the owner wanted me to cover was just to do some of the fuel lines. I already fixed the fuel pump, and he really just wants me to drive it and kind of get an assessment as to what else I feel like it needs to be done. Cosmetically, you know, the engine's a little, you know, a little worn. It's just got a little bit of patina, as they would say, but it's just, you know, it's not bad. It's just not fresh. Some of the painted surfaces are flaking, and you know, the unpainted surfaces are starting to rust a little bit, but it hasn't really deteriorated that badly. I feel like I need to just keep it the way it is. I mean, this is kind of like my my customer's old friend. There's no reason to completely refurbish it and change things around. Each car is different, so on a heel and toe, I always got to get used to the way the pedals are. Very rarely see traffic on this road. What a gorgeous day. One of those few months in the Northeast that the weather is just wonderful. I mean, it's 60s, you know, so that would be in the 20s or the teens Celsius, and it just low humidity. This is that what we call the shoulder of the season, because it's summer's over, but at the same time fall is arriving. The leaves haven't changed just yet. Second gear feels great. Pulls well. Feels pretty good. Brakes feel good. Fifth gear feels good. No whines. I don't hear any noises in the gearbox. Second gear shifted pretty well. I didn't feel any, you know, hesitation in the synchronizer. Pretty smooth. that's the first drive. Thanks for coming along. It's a new series I'm starting called Ferrari Struggle of the Week. This week's struggle was I have this 400i that I wanted to do the tie rod ends. The boots were torn, and once the boots get torn, the grease pushes out of it, and it would have just gotten worse and worse, and the tie rod ends would have seized. So no problem, just order a set of tie rod ends, and you know, just get inner outer. Usually the one on the pitman arm is usually pretty good, so that doesn't see a lot of flex. The ones that wear are these inner and outer tie rod ends, because they are see the most movement. Also, the one on the inside, that boot looks pretty good, so it wasn't torn. I think it'll be fine. What you do is you measure it, and I mark the center of the tie rod end, and replaced the old ones, took them out, unscrewed them, broke these loose, and then just like any other tie rod end. So I measure that so I can get an alignment. I'll have to take the car to the alignment shop to double check, but just simple repair until I got to the second one. The second tie rod end, the right-handed one came out unscrewed and with the lock nut, but then when I went to go unscrew the other side, which is left-handed thread, as I finally broke loose this nut, I could not get this to turn in the sleeve at all. The sleeve kept turning. There was no way to stop the sleeve from turning, and just even backing this out, which is clockwise to back out, it was really, really tight. Like something was crazy. Usually what happens is once you crack this nut open with a little bit of penetrating oil, this thing will back out, no problem. So what I did was to keep this thing from turning, because you can see the scrape marks, it was just turning in the vise. I couldn't get the vise tight enough, that I actually resorted to tacking a little bit of a weld here so it would catch in the vise, figuring that once I got this thing out, I can always grind this down, paint it, and it'll be no worse for the wear. But just to put a little tack weld in there so that it would catch as this thing would try to spin. So once I got this thing to stop spinning, I grabbed a big pipe wrench and just started turning, and it slowly started to come out, but still it was really tight. I think something was bent or galled. So I just kept heating this side up and trying to release the threads, heating it up and turning it, heating it up and turning it, and eventually it sheared. I have never had one of these things shear inside of here. I mean, something was wrong. I mean, when you look at the threads inside of this thing and something over here, like the threads are all like smoothed out and galled. I mean, something happened to this tie rod end. So what do? I got to find a new sleeve. These things are no longer available. They're obviously very fine pitch. It's like an M12, but I think I have one coming on the way, but that's the struggle of the week.